first glance, Alex Prager's photographs pull you into a world that's both dazzling and unsettling, like stepping onto a movie set where the actors never move. Every image feels like a still from a vintage movie, but with a twist. The colors are too vivid, the poses are too perfect, and the mood slightly too eerie. You're drawn in by the nostalgia, but you stay because of the ambiguity of the images. Prager's cinematic photography is surreal and packed with emotion, blending storytelling and isolation into every frame. In this video, we'll dive into how Alex Prager's unique blend of photography, cinema, and storytelling, I would say, creates images that will both haunt you but also inspire you. So grab a drink, make yourself comfortable, and let's go straight to another video. Alex Prager is a self-taught photographer, starting her journey as a street photographer before evolving into a style of fully staged cinematic photography. Her background is rooted in the streets of LA, but her vision quickly expanded beyond the candid snapshot, embracing the theatrics, drama, and control that one would associate with filmmaking. Inspired by an exhibition of William Eggleston's work at the Getty Museum, she bought her first camera and began experimenting, soon realizing that she could tell richer stories by building her own worlds. Over time, her process became more complex, involving casting actors, designing sets, and directing every detail to achieve her signature cinematic look. Her influences are deeply rooted in the language of cinema. Prager has often cited Alfred Hitchcock, David Lynch, and Douglas Sirk as major inspirations, drawing from their use of suspense, psychological tension, and dramatic lighting to shape her own work. And like these filmmakers, she's also fascinated by the way images can evoke emotion and hold a narrative, even in silence. Therefore, her photographs are infused with what I like to call a visual language of classical Hollywood, with saturated colors, dramatic shadows, and bold compositions that feel lifted actually from a Douglas Sirk melodrama. And in this context, Alex Prager's use of color, lighting, and vintage wardrobe is central to her aesthetic. She carefully selects costumes and props to evoke specific eras, often referencing the glamour and artifice of mid-century America. And the result is a sense of nostalgia, but like I said before, with a twist. Her images are familiar yet unsettling, as if you're looking at a memory that's been slightly altered. And I would actually say that to me, when I first looked at these images, I had the idea that I was almost looking at David Lynch's Blue Velvet in combination with Cindy Sherman. A kind of weird mix, but to me that helped kind of shape the way I was looking at her work. The lighting in her work is also especially quote-unquote cinematic. She uses high contrast and bold hues to heighten the drama and draw viewers into the scene. Take for example some of her photographs, like the ones from her series The Big Valley. Throughout this series, Prager uses cinematic framing and tension to tell a story in single images. The compositions, the expressions of the subject, the suggestion of something happening off the frame, and the dramatic use of color all work together to create a sense of anticipation and unease. Qualities more commonly associated, of course, with film than photography. This series is, in my opinion, therefore, a masterclass in visual storytelling, with each image inviting us, the viewers, to imagine the narrative that surrounds them. So in my opinion, the photographer's quote-unquote genius really lies on how she uses the aesthetics of the past, specifically this look and feel of the 50s to, I would say, 70s Hollywood, to create a world that's familiar, nostalgic, yet out of reach for us. Or almost like if you're remembering the still of a movie that you once saw but kind of don't remember that well. So there is this strange sense of nostalgia for me that lays almost like this, I want to say, dissonance I associate with her images that ultimately wrap beautiful surfaces in very eerie undertones. You're drawn by the color, the glamour, the nostalgia, but you stay because something feels off, something feels ambiguous, and you can sense a rising tension. There's a sense that the perfect world she's constructed is just a little bit too perfect and a little bit too still. And I have this same feeling even when I watch her short movies, which I recommend you to watch too. Because I think that it's in them that we uncover a key to her work, and that is how she builds and holds on to this tension on screen. And I actually think that one interesting takeaway that I personally got from looking at her work is, and this is again, coming from my own personal experience, is how much of my photography as well, despite being completely different, is made around this idea of chasing a feeling and chasing what I once had in a certain place. It's an interesting thought, and maybe it might link with some of you and your own work. I think it's in this pursuit of emotional truth, this desire to make the invisible visible, that really connects me and many of us, I think, to Prager's visions and ideas, despite we all having different subjects and different styles of photography. Her photographs, for me, function as a reminder that photography isn't just about what you see, but also about what you feel and what you remember, or even what you imagine about a certain place or a certain person. Which leads me to another key in Alex Prager's work, and that is a very interesting idea: isolation in crowds, which we'll explore in the next section of the video. Feeling alone in a crowd is definitely a recurring theme I associate with her work, and a feeling I've experienced many of times myself. However, there's a dual nature to this feeling. It can be both timeless, yet at the same time deeply modern. In the case of Alex Prager, this idea is brought to life in some of her most striking projects, like for instance the Face in the Crowd series, because in these images she stages hundreds of people, each one kind of carefully positioned and with their faces visible, yet there's an unmistakable sense of disconnection between all of them. The crowd is there, but the individuals within it seem isolated, lost in their own worlds, lost in thought or in time, which therefore results in a powerful visual metaphor for emotional alienation in our hyper-social world. And I think this is the perfect metaphor really for what we experience these days when social media was first a thing. Even though I was too young, I think I remember my parents talking about the fact that, it is something that connects everybody. We can talk with family from, that are living in different points of the globe. And I thought that was really cool, but as I grew up, I realized how actually that can really function in the other way around, in being a tool for alienation, in a tool for isolation, especially in younger generations and in children. I think it's super interesting to look at it through this way, that in our world, we live in this illusion of connection. It's almost like you're watching me, but I don't know who you are, and we are connected yet. So it's an interesting metaphor, and I think that her photography really feels, really is relevant, especially in talking about it in today's world. Prager's characters are often on display, caught in mid-thought or mid-gesture, as if frozen in a moment of introspection or uncertainty. And while she has them surrounded by others, this is a deliberate choice, of course, that speaks to something invisible but universal, the way a person can feel unseen even in the middle of a crowd. So Prager's work opens up an important idea, especially in today's world. It reminds us that loneliness isn't just about physical distance, it can also be the result of an emotional distance too. And I believe her images therefore ask us to look closer so that we can reflect our own experience of being in this world. And so, what is this all telling us? Whether you're just starting out or you're already deep into your creative journey, what can you learn from Alex Prager's approach? I think first and foremost is perhaps a lesson on how to use color and light emotionally. Prager's use of color and light isn't just about making her images look beautiful, though they certainly are. She sees colors and light as tools for shaping mood and emotion. Think about how the warmth and saturated tones in her photographs evoke nostalgia, while the dramatic lighting creates a tension and mystery at the same time. Every decision is made to amplify the feeling that she wants to convey. So for us photographers, this is a reminder that every choice really does matter, especially when we consider storytelling. And the second takeaway is precisely connected to this last word of storytelling. One of the greatest strengths in Alex Prager's work and in her filmmaking, both her filmmaking and photography, in my opinion, is her ability to pack an entire story into a single frame. Her photographs are dense with narrative, each one inviting the viewer to imagine what happened before and what might happen next. This is a lesson that us photographers can take when we look at a certain photograph that we've taken and we consider to be strong and that we might even admire. But we can ask ourselves as well, what story is this telling me or will tell others? Is there a sense of mystery, anticipation, or even drama about it? And if so, how? And if there is something left unsaid, how has that affected your photo? So Prager's work provokes us because it makes us consider these aspects, inviting us then to do self-reflection and also self-critique. And this sums up my thoughts about Alex Prager's work. And of course, I had to do a lot of research, interviews and videos. I really recommend. I think it's really, really cool, both her filmmaking and photography. If this is also something that interests you, I have at this point in time made plenty of videos about filmmaking and photography and combining angles, different people, and videos that I've got in a playlist linked down below if you want to check it out. So thank you so much for watching and supporting my work. It's truly appreciated, and I'll catch you in the next one. So stay safe, keep shooting, keep creating, keep learning photography, of course, and I'm out. Peace.